in the headlines of this hour on VTV News. Vietnam demonstrates steadier socio-economic growth. And General Võ Nguyên Giap's military talent affirmed in a Dien Bien Phu victory. In our world news, Canada toughens import requirements on U.S. breeding cattle over bird flu concerns.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyen Chen with the top stories. The socio-economic situation in April continued to show positive developments, with each subsequent month better than the previous one. This assessment was stated at the regular April government meeting held on a Saturday morning, chaired by Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính. In April, all three sectors, agriculture, industry, and services, recorded a positive development. Specifically, industrial production increased by 0.8% compared to March and by 6.3% compared to the same period last year. Agriculture had favorable seasons and prices. The total trade turnover in 4 months reached nearly $240 billion, up more than 15% compared to the same period. State budget revenue reached 43% of the annual estimate, while disbursement of public investment capital reached 17.5% of the plan. Actual FDI capital reached $6.28 billion. While praising the efforts and achievements of all relevant units, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính also pointed out existing shortcomings. He proposed 10 key tasks and solutions for the future, emphasizing the need to streamline administrative procedures and boost digital transformation. In its recent Asia and Pacific Regional Economic Outlook for 2024, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, assessed that the region's economic growth is stable with a diverse development potential. Vietnam is one of the economies that largely contributed to this positive growth. Meanwhile, several international organizations such as the ADB, World Bank, and HSBC have also made optimistic forecasts about Vietnam's economic prospects in the second quarter and for the year.
According to S&P Global, Vietnam's Purchasing Managers Index PMI for April reached 50.3 points. Export turnover in the first 4 months exceeded $123 billion, marking a 15% increase compared to the previous year.
First quarter shows what we had expected, that exports are growing and recovering, and this recovery started from last quarter of 2022. And so that's promising because we see the U.S. projection of growth has also increased to 2.3%.
Exports growth was very strong, so that was very positive. And that is very supportive of continuing growth. But the domestic demand, like private consumption by families, was very weak. So that's a risk.
Total FDI capital in Vietnam in the first 4 months of the year reached nearly $9.3 billion, up 4.5% year-on-year. Realized FDI capital increased by 7.4%, the highest recorded during this period in the past 5 years.
We see a very strong endorsement that over 50% of businesses highly recommend Vietnam as a leading investment location to their peers, to other FDIs coming from Europe. And we also see a very positive business outlook. If we speak in numbers, we see that 40% plan a workforce expansion.
Fiscal policies and initiatives to promote public investment are proving effective in strengthening the recovery.
Key drivers in terms of sustaining this growth of 6% would be public investment. There has to be a very strong focus on creating resilient infrastructure, using the $27.3 billion that has been earmarked for public investment very prudently and very expeditiously.
However, international organizations noted that in the context of external risks, Vietnam needs to ensure the banking sector's stability, including enhanced management of potential risks associated with bad debt.
The field of semiconductors is at the core of the electronic industry. To meet its demands, Vietnam aims to train about 50,000 to 100,000 semiconductor engineers by 2030. International cooperation plays a vital role in improving the quality and capability of semiconductor training. This was highlighted at a recent conference on semiconductor human resources held by Phie University in Hanoi on Saturday. Deputy Prime Minister Trần Hồng Hà attended the event.
At the conference, Deputy Prime Minister Trần Hồng Hà stressed the enormous opportunity available to Vietnam to become a strategic destination in the global semiconductor supply chain. Human resources are key to success in the semiconductor race.
Training must be based on the practical needs of the market. In order to provide tens of thousands of laborers for the semiconductor industry, it's also important to train teachers and lecturers. This will help create specialized training courses and programs.
At the event, an alliance was established between the two semiconductor training centers of Phie University and Da Nang City, known as VASA. Training facilities in Vietnam also signed partnerships with training facilities in the US and Taiwan, China, as well as with enterprises, in order to foster semiconductor training.
Semiconductor groups usually recruit employees who already have experience. Through these partnerships, we aim to train and provide new graduates for them. Along with Vietnam, we hope to supply a labor force for another markets such as South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, China, and the US.
We would like to welcome students from Vietnam to join us, to come here to study graduate degrees so that they can get a deeper understanding about the field in the semiconductor. And then they can work in Taiwan because we have an employment gold card from the government. All graduates, foreign students to graduate from Chongqing University automatically can work in Taiwan for 3 years.
We can bring technology, we can bring engineering resource skills because we are a global company with a lot of experience doing, semiconductor design work. So I think it's a great opportunity. So it's a good way for us to basically work with the university on specific programs, bring technology to the university, train the engineers in order to build certain products or services for the global market.
Through partnerships, the Phie Semiconductor Chip Design Training Center aims to train 8,000 semiconductor chip design engineers and 12,000 engineers and high-level workers by 2030.
At this training center, students can access the most modern equipment and facilities with chip simulation accuracy reaching 95%. For example, this server is the only one in Southeast Asia, and it can reduce the simulation process from months to hours.
Vietnam's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, rose back above the 50-point threshold in April, indicating the recovery of the manufacturing sector. According to S&P Global, the number of new orders rebounded and grew at the fastest rate since August 2022. The surge in new orders helped Vietnam's manufacturing output increase once again. Expectations for stable and a positive demand in the coming months have reinforced the positive outlook that production will increase in the next year. The General Department of Taxation and the General Department of Market Management are implementing several robust measures to manage the gold market. They also recommend that other relevant authorities coordinate inspection and examination tasks. According to the General Department of Taxation, while gold trading businesses are mandated to use electronic invoices, cash flow must also be strictly monitored. As such, they requested that the State Bank promptly establish regulations mandating non-cash payments for gold transactions and also mechanisms to monitor these transactions. Meanwhile, the General Department of Market Management in the past 4 months have inspected, detected, and handled 145 violations in gold trading. They have also imposed administrative fines totaling over 118,000 US dollars. The food and beverage, or F&B sector in Vietnam is poised for ongoing expansion. According to data from the market research organization Euromonitor, this sector is experiencing a growth rate exceeding 10% between 2023 and 2027. More than half of the survey businesses intend to expand their business scale. This suggests that businesses are producing great results in both revenue and customer volume. The average spending per person at coffee shops in Vietnam ranges from 1.50 US dollars to 2.75 US dollars. Furthermore, domestic tourism has been experiencing a steady growth recently, creating favorable conditions for the F&B sector to continue to grow. Coming up next on VTV News. General Vo Nguyen Giap's military talent affirmed in the Dien Bien Phu victory. And Hue seeks to become a capital of gastronomy. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, the city of Hanoi held a meeting on Saturday morning to express gratitude for soldiers, youth volunteers, and frontline workers who directly participated in the Dien Bien Phu campaign. Over 2,300 contributors and 159 families of fallen soldiers reside in Hanoi. At the meeting, Secretary of the Hanoi Party Committee, Dien Bien Phu, emphasized the party committees and people of Hanoi's constant pride and appreciation for these outstanding citizens who did not hesitate to endure hardship, sacrifice, and fight on the battlefield of Dien Bien Phu and in the struggle for national independence and unity. On this occasion, city delegations visited and presented gifts to the families of fallen soldiers and other Dien Bien soldiers. These gestures express gratitude towards those who sacrificed their youth for the nation. "9 years for one Dien Bien, thus the red flowers, thus the golden history." 70 years have passed. The heroic chapters of the Dien Bien Phu victory still shine as a brilliant milestone. This battle demonstrated the outstanding talent of General Commander-in-Chief Vo Nguyen Giap. He dared to make decisions, took responsibility before the Central Committee and Uncle Ho, and achieved a brilliant victory for the country.
Over a span of 3 months, the soldiers of Viet Minh had to transfer artillery into the battlefield on 2 separate occasions. Thousands of soldiers faced the arduous task of moving these multi-ton cannons across extremely challenging terrain.
I decided to change the strategy to a steady attack, steady advance. I ordered the artillery and infantry of the entire army to withdraw from the battlefield to the assembly position. It was the most difficult decision of my command life.
The Muang Phang command post was where General Vo Nguyen Giap decided to change the combat strategy from fast attack, fast victory to steady attack, steady advance.
We were inferior in terms of weapons and equipment. We lacked experience in joint warfare. From these analyses, the general made a bold and courageous decision to change the battle strategy. Uncle Ho had assigned him the responsibility. We would lose all resources if we lost this battle.
To Uncle Ho, the party, and General Vo Nguyen Giap, resources were not only weapons or equipment, but also the people. This was the motto throughout the life of the People's General Vo Nguyen Giap. After 56 days and nights, the country's flag flew on the roof of General de Cascais' bunker. This victory in a valley in the northwest didn't just end the colonial rule in Vietnam. It reshaped the course of the world history. It became an inspiration for colonized countries worldwide to strive for their independence.
General Võ Nguyên Giáp led many campaigns, but the Dien Bien Phu battlefield most clearly demonstrated his wisdom, determination, and precise direction. The general brought us a glorious victory. Even French historians must acknowledge his strategic talent.
This observation point was reiterated by General during his last visit to Dien Bien 20 years ago. At the time, he was 94 years old. The small shack at the Mueang Phang headquarters was where he made important decisions throughout the campaign. Those decisions solidified the general's place in the world history.
Nowadays, villages in Dien Bien are teeming with visitors from around the region. Located in the Mueang Phang commune, the Mueang Phang historical relic site has become a popular tourist attraction. Mueang Phang has a proud history, transitioning from a revolutionary base during the Dien Bien Phu campaign to a new rural area. This transformation is the next phase in honoring the nation's heroic past.
Over 20 kilometers from the center of Dien Bien Phu, Mueang Phang commune was chosen as the commander headquarters of the Dien Bien Phu campaign. As the 70th anniversary of the nation's historic victory approaches, the relic site has been welcoming hundreds of visitors. Every time Bien visits, he can't help but be moved by his father's contributions during his years working with the resistance committee.
Our village would continue its daily activities and report to the general when there were any new updates.
In the past, Mueang Phang was the heart of Dien Bien Phu campaign. Today, the commune has emerged as a leading representative in socio-economic development. Completed in 2013, the Lam Luang Reservoir is considered a driving force for development. It not only provides water for 26 villages and hamlets of the commune, but also contributes to increasing the output of rice yield, reaching 16 tons of hectare. The commune has also diversified its economy by linking historical tourism with community tourism.
Our facility can accommodate up to 20 to 21 visitors. If the number of guests exceeds, we can ask neighboring households for support.
Our direction is to involve the whole community in tourism, making it sustainable. Currently, there are only 4 impoverished households left in the area.
The commune of Mueang Phang has set a goal to have 0 poor households this year. The expansion of major roads leading to historical sites also paves the way for development, as many agricultural products are transformed into goods. In 2018, Mueang Phang commune became a new rural area. The transformation of this historical land will continue the nation's heroic past.
Despite it being the dry season, a series of landslides have occurred in Cần Thơ. In Thới Thuận Ward, Thốt Nốt district, 2 houses have been damaged by landslides, costing over $39,000. Subsequent landslides caused 3 houses on the bank of the Thốt Nốt River to collapse into the waters. From the beginning of the year until now, there have been 9 landslide incidents in Cần Thơ city, resulting in a total property damage of around $472,000. According to experts, the prolonged intense heat combined with low tides has caused the ground to develop many cracks. Additionally, the construction of houses along rivers and canals is also a contributing factor to the increasing frequency of landslides. Drought has exacerbated land subsidence in many Mekong Delta localities. Recently, this has spread to the freshwater production hub in Hồng Dân district, Bạc Liêu province. Numerous subsidence points have appeared rapidly, with the initial damage estimated at over $390,000. More to follow.
This house was built less than a year ago and is now a pile of rubble. The subsidence occurred unexpectedly one day at noon, leaving Nguyen's family unable to respond quickly. Fortunately, there were no human casualties. However, property damage was estimated at $20,000.
I saved money to build this house, which I hope to bequeath to my child. I wouldn't have built it if I had known there would be land subsidence.
Many houses that have not yet subsided have begun to display cracks in their walls.
The house has a large cracks in the wall. The house pillar is weakening. I think I will have to demolish the house today.
In addition to damage to houses, subsidence also severely damages local roads.
It's not possible to transport any goods along this road. We can't transport goods by river either since it's shallow.
We conduct inspections in residential areas. We will find any signs of subsidence. We warn people of the danger and encourage them to relocate for safety.
Due to the severe impacts of the drought, the water levels in the Mekong Delta canals have reached a new low. This situation is becoming increasingly serious in the Cà Mau, Kiên Giang, and Bạc Liêu provinces. Authorities believe land subsidence will intensify shortly due to the serious drought.
Hue cuisine has long been regarded as the epitome of Vietnamese culinary art due to its delicate preparation and a strong cultural embodiment. It's a source of pride for Thừa Thiên Huế province, which is working hard to establish itself as Vietnam's gastronomy capital. Over the years, numerous events and activities have been held to promote the province's competitive advantage in cuisine, especially during the Hue Festival and Hue Traditional Craft Festival. Hue offers a variety of dishes from traditional food to royal cuisine to cater to national and international visitors.
Visiting from France, this is Marie Stan's first time tasting Hue's specialties, such as savory steamed rice cakes and flat steamed rice dumplings. The food in Hue has left a deep impression on me, especially the flat steamed rice dumplings. The cuisine here is truly wonderful. According to statistics, Vietnam has about 1,700 dishes, of which up to 1,300 are from Hue. Hue's cuisine is enriched with royal cuisine, traditional cuisine, and vegetarian cuisine. Hue has a foundation and a vast treasure of various traditional dishes that leave behind many cultural and artistic values.
We aim to introduce Hue cuisine to both national and international visitors. In doing so, tourists can understand why Hue is worthy of the title of UNESCO Creative City for its culinary artistry.
Hue's culinary offerings are a significant draw for the Asian's capital city's tourism. To capitalize on this resource for tourism development, the locality has been implementing long-term plans to preserve and promote the unique value of Hue's cuisine. The ultimate goal is to enhance the province's strong tourism brand and make it even more appealing to tourists.
Coming up next in our world news. Canada toughens import requirements on U.S. breeding cattle over bird flu concerns. An historic Armenian puppet theater upholds traditional puppet-making techniques. Now moving on to our world news. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency has tightened import requirements for U.S. breeding cattle due to the H5N1 bird flu virus. The agency issued this announcement on Friday. According to the new rules, negative highly pathogenic avian influenza or HPAI test results are required for lactating dairy cattle imported from the United States to Canada. Enhanced testing of milk at the retail level is also being conducted for viral fragments of HPAI. The first confirmed case in a dairy herd on March 25th and the second human case in 2 years on April 1st have heightened concerns in the U.S. about the spread of the virus to animals and people. China has released a number of measures to boost consumption during the country's 5-day holiday. China's Labor Day holiday, which takes place from May 1st to May 5th, is considered one of the country's 3 most important holidays. A surge in service and tourism spending indicates positive signs for the world's #2 economy. An increase of 56% in medium and long-haul travel has been recorded during this vacation. The number of bookings for international travel also increased by more than 50% compared to last year. Now, during the holidays, the Chinese government also encourages consumers to buy technology products and new cars to stimulate demand. Recently, the Chinese government announced a subsidy of $1,400 to individuals buying energy-efficient vehicles. Major cities like Beijing and Shanghai have relaxed household registration rules, allowing individuals to purchase second and third homes far from the city center with lower interest rates. Keeping lending rates low and pumping substantial funds into the economy also plays a crucial role in stimulating consumer demand. Thai police raided a massive illegal Bitcoin mining operation in the country on Friday. The operation seized almost $2 million worth of equipment. The raid occurred in a disused ice factory in western Samut Sakhon City following a tip-off about unusually high electricity usage. Other seized items include an electrical transformer, laptops, and aluminum cables. A Myanmar national was arrested on site, with police still investigating a number of figures, including the factory owner and a property leaseholder. Traditional puppetry is a unique aspect of Armenian culture. For nearly 90 years, the Stepan Alekhanian Puppet Theater, one of the first public puppet theaters in the country, has diligently worked to preserve this art form. More on this in the following story.
In the heart of Gyumri, Armenia, the Stepan Alekhanian Puppet Theatre stands as a guardian of tradition and creativity. At its core lie the skilled hands of 66-year-old Ashot Edegarian, a master puppeteer who has devoted himself to preserving this art form.
I like the wood, its smell, and the way I work with it.
Edegarian is one of the few puppeteers in Gyumri welcomed by the 89-year-old theatre. It is anticipated that he will breathe new life into the performances while still retaining the characteristics of traditional puppetry.
5 to 6 years ago, I was appointed as the director of the theatre. Together with the entire troupe, including the administrative department employees, we embarked on a unified mission to advance the theatre around a central idea. This theatre holds significant historical importance as the first state puppet theatre of Armenia.
Puppeteer Ashot Edegarian is the creative mind behind a range of puppets, from princesses and princes to tree stumps with birds.
Puppets transmit love to children and kindness towards the world. My favorite puppet show is A Found Dream. I even had the chance to play the role of the grandfather.
Backstage, you'll find the oldest puppet from 1937 among those hanging on hooks. Many old puppets, no longer in use for performances, are now showcased in museums. Some are displayed in the theatre's first-floor lobby, serving as a tangible introduction to the rich history of traditional Armenian puppetry.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.